Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was Separated from His Family. And before continuing this, I have an announcement. Yeah guys, I'm going to be doing a single upload today, but don't worry, it's going to be approximately 50 to 60 minutes long. Yeah, and if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's continue our story. Chapter 9, Takigakure. Same time the kidnapping was happening. This way, follow me. Fu whispered to her Uzu companions as they entered the village once again. They have made preparations and waited for night time to fulfill them. As someone who used to run and hide ever since she was able to talk and walk, Fu knew all the passages in the village. Be it a secret passageway or not, the girl knew about them as she had been there when hiding from mobs. Fu and the four storm crept into a narrow passageway hidden from the night patrols. There were only a few since the village was peaceful anyway, except for the fact that they were hostile against one girl. There's nobody here, the captain of the team commented. You really know your way, huh? Of course. Now we take this secret passage. This leads inside the Takigake's mansion. Fu replied as she pointed at a corner with a small puddle of water. If someone would look closely, they will see nothing but a simple puddle of water. But in Fu's case, she found out about it. Fu and the Uzu retrieval team entered the secret passageway. They got inside the mansion and immediately headed to the safe. With the use of some blood seals, they were able to open the safe and immediately created copies of the scrolls, ranking from A to Kinjutsu. They took the original ones and placed the copies inside the vault. The copies will remain there just for the Takigake to see if he decides to check. Once he have checked the scrolls and found them there, the fake scrolls will vanish once he leaves. They exited the mansion without a problem. They sneaked into the shack where they gathered heroes' water. They took everything and placed it inside a special sealing scroll, and not a single drop was left from the container. We're done here. Thank you. Now let's go to your place, Fu said as they got back inside the forest where they made camp for the day. Sounds good. Let's go. The captain nodded. They jumped off the wall, leaving the village hidden in the waterfalls behind. Takigakure, Konoha's porter, Fu and Storm's POV. The five were speeding back to Uzushio when they felt 6 strong signatures of chakra and 3 faint ones. Weird, I can sense my sister's chakra, but it seems faint, incomplete. The Nanabe spoke through her container's mind. There's another one like me? Fu asked. Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, it is the QB. Nanabe said, not mentioning her sister's real name, as it was a rule among them. The demon or demoness itself shall be the one to tell the mortal of their name if it wants to. Halt! I sense a familiar chakra signature, the Uzu captain said as she and her 4 companions stopped. Nanabe said she can sense the Cubist Jinchuriki's chakra as well. Fu informed the 4 storms, making their eyes widen. Naruto-sama? What is this? This chakra signature with him are not familiar. The captain muttered and then realized something. Something has happened. Everyone, conceal yourselves. Fu, you stay away and hide. She barked to her teammates as they got into ambush formation. Wait, what's happening? Are these people enemies? Fu inquired. Yes, the chakra signatures around Naruto-sama are not familiar. Naruto-sama? Who is he? Oh right, you do not know him. Well, he's you can say like you, a Jinchuriki. He has the Kyubi no Yoko sealed inside of him. We'll explain more about him later. For now you need to hide. We will be here while we rescue them. Stay here. The 6 chakra signatures with him are high Jonin level in normal standards. She said, Taicho, there are friendly chakra signatures chasing after them. One of the storms said, wait, normal standards? Fu was bewildered. We'll explain later. Hide and conceal your chakra. Go! Fu nodded and went to find a spot to hide. The 4 storm activated their Rinnegan behind their masks and waited for their guest. Eva and Kumo Shinobi POV were passing through the waters, the Kumo captain said as he adjusted the sack over his shoulder. They are still after us. We'll need to do something, Kurosuchi said. Let's stop here. Okay, Ellie, watch over the kid. With me, we're fighting the pursuers. Alright, Akatsuchi, please watch over my future husband. Prepare to do support. Konoha pursuers POV. Unknown to the kidnappers, the Konoha shinobi have long stopped from pursuing them. Instead, it was the Uzunins who were chasing after them, only wearing Konoha gear. Taicho, they have stopped. They are probably thinking of engaging us now. There are 4 friendly chakra signatures ahead of them, and another strong one, unfamiliar. Wait, 4? And another one? That's the Nanabe's Jinchuriki probably, and it's the team sent to retrieve her. I think they have also sensed us, sir, and the ones we are pursuing. You there, I need you to go ahead, around and inform the other team of the current status. Quickly, go! Hi, the storm said as he vanished. Real Konoha pursued POV earlier. Wait, no, stop! Ayuka shouted as a Chunin stepped on something. Boom! Damn it! This place is rigged with traps. If we go around, they will be too far away to catch. And Uchiha said, we have no choice. We need to go around where there are no traps. I'm sure we can still catch them. Another one said, well then, let's go. Before the pursuit could begin to move, they felt unfriendly chakra signatures around them. And were many. Well, looky here, we got some Konoha ninjas inside our camp, a heavy raspy voice said. Hehe, let's kill them, cackled by a high-pitched voice that sounded like a fangirl. The Konoha pursuers got into a defensive position and prepared. Damn it, we got ourselves get ambushed, said by a Chunin. The Leaf found themselves surrounded as the owner of the voices came out. There were 100 of them. Bandits? Let's deal with them quickly. Oh, looky. They think they can beat us. Let's show them why they should fear us, the leader said, as they stepped out from the shadows of their hiding spots. As they surrounded the Konoha, the Anbu recognized them. You're Kumo and Eva Nils, so you really were working together after all, the Anbu commented. Heh, quite right, the fangirly voice Mill said. So the woman we admitted to the hospital earlier. Girl? Wait, I think I remember wearing a purple dress. Exactly, so she was telling the truth then. You ambushed her and her family. I must say, her father was a tough fighter, but we still managed to kill him. So you got our prize. We will take her from your hospital once we deal with you, the leader said as he drew his weapon, unsheathing two katanas. The other rogue ninjas followed him and unsheathed their weapons as well. May the best man win, the leader said as the rogue ninjas charged at the Konoha nin. Back with the food retrieval squad. In normal time, one friendly incoming. One of the Storm's hidden said as they felt one of the comrade's chakra signature. They waited until he came to their position and also hid himself. Finally, I got here. Here's the situation, he said as he held out his palm to let his comrades know, showing them his memories of the kidnapping and the mission that was assigned to them. Flashback. Back in Uzushio. Kasan? Naruto-kun, I would like to ask you something. This is very important. Please sit down, the Uzukage said as she motioned her youngest to take the seat. Alright, what is it you want to talk about, Ka-chan? Kurama-san needs to hear this as well. Okay, Naruto said as he concentrated and woke up his friend. Okay, she's listening now. The Uzukage then told her son about Iwagakure and Kumo Gakure and Konoha. She then told her about the plan of kidnappings and also asked her son for some blood and chakra from Kurama that would be used for Naruto blood clone. The girl who is going to get kidnapped is my goddaughter, her mother. He told me is an old friend of mine and was my teammate when I was still a Kenin. The reason why we're interfering is that she's a part Uzumaki. There is a chance that her children might also have gained our bloodline. We cannot let it fall into the hands of another village. I understand. So this clone will be used as bait for Eva? Yes. Alright, I'll help. Naruto grinned as his mother hugged him in thanks. The Uzukage then mentioned and motioned for the storm that was hidden and called for the team that was assigned for the mission. She then briefed them about the intervention they will quickly be doing during the supposed kidnapping of Naruto blood clone and the daughter of Hitomi Hinata Uzumaki Hyuga. End of the flashback. I see. We were worried that the lost Maelstrom had been kidnapped again. Thanks for the information, the captain said and motioned for her team. Alright, we're going to assist retaking back the kidnapped children as Konoha Shinobi. Eva and Kumo Shinobi POV. Here they come, one of the Kumo Shinobi said. Hand us over the children and we will our separate ways and forgive this incident that ever happened. Like hell we will, Kurtsuchi said, and the Kumo captain followed her. Alright then, the storm captain said as the two his comrade appeared getting into a stance. You guys sure you want to fight us? Kurtsuchi taunted. Not really, we just want the children back. You're not taking any children. These children are ours now, and we will take them back to the village, whether you like it or not, Cade said. Die! The Kumo captain charged as he decided to cut the talk and fight. As the captain said the word, he and his comrades were sent away flying by an invisible force. The three storm immediately blinked and grabbed the children from another storm who was hidden, casted in the Shinra Tensei. Food retrieval team. Okay, they got the children, the captain whispered through the radio. Prepare to spring the trap. They waited as the first team went to their direction with the children. The first team slowed down as they waited for the kidnappers to recover and spot them, only to lead them into the trap. They got our packages. The one who was carrying Sasuke earlier said, after them, I did not come this far only for this mission to fail. Gortsuchi screamed. As the kidnappers got into the trap perimeter, the second storm team, who were hidden in a square formation, activated it. Fuin, False World. The kidnappers found themselves surrounded by a huge group of Konoha shinobi and got into a stance. They battled for a good 10 minutes and destroyed the forest. In the process, Raito and Doton Jutsu fought against Katon. In the end, they stood no chance against the Byakugan and the Sharingan. Their Tenkutsu points were sealed off, and they were hit by the Uchiha's Katon Jutsu before they lost consciousness. They saw the Konoha fell dead around them. Normal POV, the 8 Storm plus 1 Jinchuriki came out of their hiding spots and checked on the kidnappers. They'll be out for about 3 hours. We will be very far away from them then. The first captain said. From fake Konoha team. Is it over? A muffled voice asked. The storm remembered about the children and opened the packs, revealing that Naruto, Jibunshin, a crying Hinata, and a young Uchiha who looked like he was in a daze. I see, it's over then, the Naruto clone said as he inspected the area and prepared to dispel himself. Alright then, good job. I'll report this to the boss. Wait, who shouted at Naruto, huh? Are you the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi? The blood clone did not respond and stared at the storm questioningly. My name is Fu. I'm the Jinchuriki of Nanabe. She felt your chakra inside you, so she told me about you. I see. Well, to clarify things, I'm just a clone. A percentage of my blood and chakra that came from my son and the Kyuubi were used to create me. Most of the blood used was from my original. What? Fu was totally confused. The clone Naruto chuckled and formed a hand sign. There was a puff of smoke, and from where Naruto clone was, a beautiful woman with long red hair stood. I'm sure your rescuers have already told you about us being on a good terms with Jinchuriki. My son Naruto is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. I am the leader of the village that you are going to. My name is Uzumaki Namikaze Kushina, Shodai Uzukage of the new Uzushio Gakure. Uzumaki? Uzushio Gakure? Fu eyebrows scrunched as she got into a deep thought. I think I've read those names before. Shh, we'll talk more about that later. For now, you need to move. You will meet my son later on. She smiled as she made a hand sign and dissolved into the puddle of blood. The blood soon dissipated into smoke. We need to get move on. The pickup area is an hour worth of travel ahead, the first captain said. The kids looked distraughted. What happened to them? The second captain inquired. The girl's gone into a tough experience, he replied, and not elaborating as they already knew about Hinata. We do not know about the boy. We need to check on him first. He may be a kid, but we cannot just trust someone from Konoha. Yeah, you're right, he said as he placed his palm on the boy's hand and scanned through Sasuke's memory. Oh dear. Poor boy, he mumbled as he unplaced his hand from the boy's head and held it out for his teammates to see. Oh, poor boy indeed. We'll take him with us, Naruto-sama, and he will be great friends. Uzukage-sama will be pleased about him as well. Let's go. Just cast a sleeping jutsu on them. 1 hour later, they had been running non-stop for an hour and slowed down as they approached a huge waterfall. We're here, the first captain said as he walked inside into an opening that was behind the waterfall. This is Uzushio Gakure? You're located inside a waterfall? Fu asked, feeling incurious. However, she still followed inside and heard someone laughing. This is just the pickup point. From here, I'm going to transport you to the Uzushio Gakure, a new voice said as he stopped laughing. Fu looked at the owner of the voice and found a man with long blonde hair wearing white cloak with flames patterns on the bottom of it. Hello Fu, my name is Namikaze Minato. I'm the Uzukage's husband. You look like an older version of Naruto. Minato chuckled and replied, haha, yeah. You'll finally meet him later on, he said as he started and stared at the 2 sleeping children the storm was carrying. Poor kids. They'll need immediate medical treatment. I'll take them first, he said as the storm gently laid them on the ground. Minato carried Hinata over his shoulder while he carried Sasuke on his right. Fu's jaw dropped as the man vanished in a yellow flash along with the children he was carrying. What the? After about 10 seconds, there was another yellow flash of lightning. Alright, hold on to my hands, everyone. We're going to the Uzushio Gakure. Uzushio Gakure, Uzukage's office. Whoa! Fu gasped. What was that? That was my Harishin, Minato replied as Fu took in her surroundings. Welcome home, Fu. The Uzukage greeted, calling the attention of everyone. Uzukage-sama, I do thank you for the warm welcome. I also thank you for sending people to take me away from Taki, Fu said as she bowed. I I cannot just do nothing knowing that someone like you isn't treated very well. From now on, Uzushio Kakra will be your home. I know what you've been through, so I understand it will take you time to get used to the village, our village. As you grow older, you will know why the Uzumakis are friendly with the tail beast and other Jinchurikis from now on. I want you to enjoy your stay. You will be living in the mansion with us, the Uzukake said as she now turned to the storm, who now kneeled. You eight have done Uzushio Gakure a great service. I thank you and commend you for doing your duty well. You will receive twice the pay of an S-rank mission. I want full reports of your mission tomorrow afternoon. Dismissed. Hi. Thank you, Uzukage-sama. The storm bowed and sunshine out of the office. Just then, the office door opening, revealing a panting blonde boy. Kajan! Naruto squeaked as he entered the room. Naruto-kun, what is it? Kushina asked, a bit worried. Minato immediately ushered after him and led him into a seat. Kurama-chan told me she felt her sister's chakra, so I went to tell you, the boy said, still not noticing the green-haired girl in the room. Oh well, I wanted to surprise you both, but I guess it can't be helped, the Uzukage said as she motioned for Fu to come near. Naruto-kun, please meet Fu. Fu, meet my youngest. Naruto, it's her. She's really sealed inside of him. Chome said excitedly. Naruto-kun, my sister is sealed inside her. Like you. Fu is also a Jinchuriki. She has the Nanabe. Kurama told Naruto, it's nice to meet you, Fu-chan. Kurama-chan also says she misses Chome's son. It's also nice to finally meet you, Naruto-sama. He waited and said, Hey, wait. Not you too, please. No, Sama. You may call me by my name. After all, we're technically siblings in a manner of status. Alright then, Naruto-kun, Fu said cheerily. Kurama-chan says she would like to talk to her sister, Naruto said as he raised his right fist and waited for his new sister to fist bump with him. Fu understood what he wanted and bumped fist with her brother. As they connected, a mental link was formed that allowed the two demons to talk to each other. As the sisters talked through the link, the Uzukage cleared her throat and talked. Fu, I understand that you do not have a family, so what do you think of being part of our family? She asked. Family? Yes, family. From now on, you will be treated as our own daughter. What do you think? Minato said. Me? You want to adopt me? Yes. Minato and Kushina replied. Yes, Fu squealed in happiness as tears won't stop from flowing down her face. I finally have a family. I always wanted a family. And I got a brother too. Well then, how does Uzumaki Namikaze Fu sounds? I like it. Ka-chan. To-chan, she said, as she hugged her new parents. Yay, I got another sister. Naruto cheered as he joined the group hug. Now, I know you two are probably tired and hungry, so we're going out together with the rest of our family and introduce you to them. Kushina said as she made a clone to do her paperwork. Ramen! Naruto cheered happily as they exited the office. Afternoon. The time Uzushio Gakure's hospital. Hinata's room. Uzukage-sama, their health conditioning is fine. The boy is still asleep because of the medicine we gave him. When he woke up earlier, crying, the girl should wake up in a few moments, the nurse said as she led the Uzukage and Minato into Hinata's room. Hinata mumbled as she slowly opened her eyes. She looked around her surroundings and realized she was at the hospital. She wasn't noticing the two people standing near her by yet. Hello, how are you? A voice asked, making the girl squeak in surprise. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you, Kushina said gently. My name is Uzumaki Namikaze Kushina. I had you saved from being kidnapped by Kumo. Do not worry, you're safe now. Your wounds have been healed also. But please, let me stay here. I don't want to go back to them, she whispered as she curled into a ball and started to cry. Shh. Don't worry, young one. I'm not sending you back. Did you know I'm your godmother? As your godmother, I'm not going to let anyone harm you. I will protect you. Godmother? Yes, Hinata-chan. Hitomi named me your godmother before she got separated with me. You know my Kajan? Yes, I did know her. Your mother and I were best friends. She also was my teammate back when we were Genin until we met Johnny. Can you tell me more about her? Of course, Kushina said as she smiled warmly at her sister, at her girl. For the past hours, she spent it by telling Hinata stories about Hitomi. When she was done, Hinata was once again crying. I miss her so much, she sniffled as Kushina embraced her. Hinata unconsciously touched her forehead and dropped it. It doesn't hurt anymore," she whispered as her godmother released her from the hug. "The cage bird seal has been removed from you. I took the liberty of having it removed when you were still asleep." Kushina informed the girl, making her cry again, but this time Nada cried in relief. "Thank you. Yashi will pay for doing this to you. Also, do not worry about your younger sister. I have someone take care of her and keep her away from harm." Nada nodded in thanks and relaxed. Just then, the door opened and more people who looked like Minato and Kushina went inside. "Ka-chan, is she awake? May I see her now?" Naruto asked excitedly. "May I see her now?" Naruto asked excitedly. "You!" Hinata pointed to the boy as her face turned red. Kushina became worried that Hinata might have been brainwashed about her son as well and got ready to defend her youngest. "I never knew your name," she mumbled. Uzumaki Namekaze Naruto, the future Uzukage. Datebayo. Hi. Hi, Naruto-kun. I never got the chance to thank you." "Thank me? For what?" Naruto asked as he sat on Hinata's bed, making the girl blush even more. You saved me." You're my Naruto-kun," she stuttered as she lost consciousness, fainting. She meant to say you're my hero, but due to Naruto being too close to her, her mind overloaded and caused her to faint. "You're my Naruto-kun?" "What?" Narumi, who was also there, giggled. "Hey, I always knew our Naruto-kuns will totally be a lady killer." Minako snickered. "Well, wow. We found another member of our Ototo's fan club." Miho and Mio both said at the same time as they also giggled. "Wow, son, that was impressive then," Minata thought as he also grinned. "So, they have met before. I wonder what happened the first time they met," Kushina thought. "So, Naruto-kun, care to explain?" "I really don't know what you mean. Everyone turned to the girl as she regained consciousness. He saved my life when I was 3 years old." Flashback. It was a night festival in Konoha. A celebration was held as the ambassador of Kumo arrived for the peace talks and the possible alliance between both villages. As for Naruto, it was just a normal night for him as he just escaped another mob that was trying to murder him. As he turned into a corner, he did not realize he was near the Yuga compound. The boy immediately jumped in alarm and hid as he heard whispers. "Quickly, we need to get out of this village, now!" Naruto, being the child he was, got curious and went outside of his hiding spot and checked out the voices. "What are you doing?" he asked as he approached the two people while they were carrying a crying girl. "Help me!" the girl cried as she heard Naruto's voice. "Hey, let her go! What are you doing to her?" Naruto demanded. "Get lost, kid," one of the kidnappers said. As he hit the boy in the head, knocking him out. "No! What did you do to him? You're bad people. You killed him." "Come on, we need to get going," the one who hit Naruto said. "You're not going anywhere." The kidnappers nearly jumped in fright as they heard a voice that cried a very strong aura. They turned around and noticed the blonde boy floating in mid-air with his head hung low. As he raised his head and glared at the kidnappers, the Kumo nin knew they were going to die. They stared in awe and in total fear as the unconscious floating boy opened his eyes, revealing purple ones with ring patterns in them. The blonde boy vanished and appeared beside the one carrying the girl and gently grabbed the girl from him. He once again vanished and reappeared in front of the kidnappers about 50 meters away from them. It happened so fast that the Kumon did not know what happened and only realized it when they saw the boy floating in front of them, carrying the girl that they were kidnapping. He quickly set the girl down and stared at the kidnappers. They were about to charge at the boy when he raised his arms with his both hands. Shinra Tensei, heavenly subjugation of the omnipresent god of almighty push. The kidnappers were blasted off from their feet by an invisible force, causing them to crash into a wall. Bancho Tenin. About a second passed after they crashed into the wall. They felt themselves being pulled at the boy this time. Naruto caught the two by their necks and choked them to the ground. "Ningendo, human part," he said as he placed each hand on their heads in a grip-like hold. He raised his arms as he pulled the souls of the kidnappers, immediately causing their bodies to drop dead. "You're safe now," the boy told the girl as he turned to her and helped her get up to her feet. Your family will be arriving here soon. I can sense them. Naruto started to walk away, but smiled at the girl before he left the area. The girl was fascinated with the boy's purple eyes. Naruto will forever remember that incident and waited to see her savior once again and to thank him. Ever since they failed kidnapping, she had developing a liking for Naruto. End of the flashback. He was so amazing. He defeated the bad guys, she said, no longer stuttering. Those who were listening to her story, however, were silent. Kushina excused herself and went outside. As she got out of the room, she could not hold it back and finally broke out crying. Her sobs were heard by the people inside, and Minato immediately went after his wife. I should have known. Our baby boy. He's been through a lot already. For someone such as him to be able to awaken it at age of 3, I will never forgive Konoha for this, she said as she sobbed. Naruto meanwhile was a little confused. He could not remember fighting the Kumo kidnappers. He only remembered trying to figure out what they were doing and then blacking out. When one of them hit him in the head, he was now closing to figure out when he heard his mother's crying. What is she talking about? Based on the girl's story, he battled the kidnappers by sending them away flying and back, defeating them by touching their heads. Kushina also said something about him awakening something. Has Naruto-kun awakened it? How come I never noticed? Kurama thought silently as she was also listening to the story. She was pacing inside her mansion that Naruto made for her. I need to look into this memory. The Rinnegan, it normally awakens when an Uzumaki reaches the age of 18. If the person undergoes harsh training, he or she could awaken it earlier. In extreme cases like the Uchiha clan, Mangekyo Sharingan, the Rinnegan can be also awakened if the person experienced very traumatic physical, mental, and emotional pain. This was the case for Naruto. Is that why Kachan? Why is she crying? Naruto asked his siblings furtively. They understood why their mother was very hurt at the moment and decided not to disturb her while their father tried to comfort her. Kachan's alright. I'll think it was just someone else who sounded like her. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, Minako said. Are you sure? The boy asked, doubtful of his brother's answer. Yeah, we're sure, Narumi said as she smiled at Naruto. Okay then. Naruto decided to ask about his mother because he was sure he felt his mother's distressed emotion. For now, he just pretended to believe his older siblings. You know, Naruto, there is also this boy admitted to the other room. He was also from Konoha. Would you and Hinata like to meet him? Narumi asked as she tried to divert the attention from their mother. Do you know him, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked the girl. The girl shook her head and told him she thought she was the only one who's being kidnapped. Alright then, let's go meet him, he said cheerfully as Miho and Miho led them into another room, and Narumi went to the other door that their parents used to check on her mother. Minato was with her. Minako waited until Naruto and the others got inside Sasuke's room before following after his older sister. Sasuke's room. The youngest Uchiha could be seen staring at the wall opposite his bed. He knew he was kidnapped and was saved and was brought to another village. He was currently thinking of his family, or if he should still call them his family. His father and his siblings never showed any kind of affection for him, while his mother also said she no longer wanted him. When he got out of the compound and bumped into the Kumo kidnapper, he knew he was in danger but shrugged it off because a huge part of him wanted to get kidnapped and be taken away from Konoha. When he regained consciousness, he now found himself in a foreign place. Although new, he felt the people were friendly and nice to him. He had already developed a liking to this new place. He currently was and couldn't wait to get out of this bed to make a tour. He was interrupted from his thoughts when he heard the door open. Hello, may we come in? A familiar blonde boy poked his head inside and asked, Sure, please come in, Sasuke said as he got into a sitting position. Hello, I'm Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the blonde said as he came nearer his bed and offered a hand. Sasuke shook it and smiled. He finally recalled who the boy was. My name is Sasuke. He did not tell his surname because deep inside he knew he was already an outcast and his parents no longer wanted him. An Uchiha, huh? Kurama said. Through Naruto's mind, she immediately perked up when she heard the boy mention Uchi. She knew it was an Uchiha. If he finished it, the boy also looked familiar, and he strongly resembled the human being she hated the most. I finally got to know you. I always wanted to get to know you, you know? Oh wow, really? Yeah, I saw you a couple of times being chased by a mob. I'm so sorry about that. I really wanted to help you. I know you're not a demon despite what they say. Never mind that. You do not have to apologize. You did me no wrong. But I really wanted to help. I think Sasame was right. I'm too weak. And if I'm too weak, I cannot help myself and others. Hey, we're still young. We can still get stronger. You're right. Anyway, I'd like to ask you if you like to be friends with me. Friends? Of course, I like friends. Someone once told me that having friends also mean having someone to motivate you to become stronger, so you can protect them. That's great then, Sasuke cheered happily. He now noticed three other people who entered the room. After Naruto, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been talking to you. Oh, it's alright, don't worry about it, Mio and Miho said, a polite Uchiha, besides Toby. Now that's new, they both thought as they looked at the boy. Hello, I'm Hinata, the girl said as she stuttered a little. Hi, I'm Sasuke. I remember you. You're also from Konoha. Yes, but I no longer wanted there, and I already decided that I wanted to leave that place. So I'm staying here. You too, huh? Yeah. So, your clan also banished you? Pretty much, yeah. I guess I can also call this place my new home then. He said and looked at Naruto. Where are we? I guess I can trust you. We are in Uzushio Gakure no Sato, and this village is literally hidden since no other village. No, it still exists. Still exists. For the next month, with the two promising not to tell anybody, Naruto spent the time by explaining to Sasuke and Hinata the story about Uzushio Gakure, including Konoha's betrayal and the village's supposed downfall back during the war. Mio and Miho excused themselves already earlier to check on their mother. Wow, I knew there was something wrong in Konoha, and I was right. They are players and traitors. And wow, Naruto, your clan must be really strong to be able to defeat three armies. I guess so. Their thoughts were interrupted when they heard their stomachs grumble. Hehe, we're all hungry now, aren't we? I know a good place where we can eat. Follow me, Naruto said as he led the two out of the hospital and headed to the Ichiraku's, Uzushio Gakure, Uzukage's office. So Naruto-kun's awakened the Rinnegan, Minato said as he leaned on the wall. Yes, but it's been dormant. I could not sense it in him as active. I do not know what exactly happened. I need to watch his memory, Kushina replied as she massaged her head while she sat behind her desk. We need to talk to Hinata and ask her for it. Yes, we will. But the girl has yet to recover first. She's been through a traumatizing incident. Naruto's siblings were also inside the room listening to their mothers' and parents' conversation. They were worried about their youngest brother as well. They had been trying to figure out Naruto's case of Rinnegan. Ichiraku's. Naruto led Sasuke and Hinata out of the hospital and started to walk towards his favorite restaurant. Along the way, he saw Fu near someone's garden and was watching the insects. Yo, Fu, Ne-chan. Fu looked up and saw her little brother and two other kids with him. Hello, Naruto-kun. Where are you going? We're going to Ichiraku's, Ne-chan. Meet my new friends, Hinata and Sasuke. Hinata, Sasuke? This is my sister, Fu. Hello, Hinata-san. Sasuke-san. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too. Ne-chan, would you like to come with us? Alright then, let's go. The four children talked along the way to Ichiraku's. As they got there, Naruto was the first to enter the restaurant. Good afternoon, Teichi-san. Oh, good afternoon, Naruto-sama. Teichi-san, I thought you said you no longer call me that. Haha, I'm just kidding, Naruto-kun. Ayame-chan, come out here. Look who visited us today, the restaurant owner said as he called for his daughter over the counter. Oh, it's you, Naruto-kun, Ayame said as she came out of the kitchen. And you brought your friends? Yeah, they are new here in Uzushio Gakure. Excuse me, Naruto-kun. Toichi said as he turned to his daughter. Ayame-chan, you're relieved for the day. Accompany Naruto-kun and his friends. That's great, thanks, Teichi-san. Naruto cheered happily as they found a table for 5 persons. This is Fu. We're not blood related, but I consider her as my sister, Naruto said, while indicating a little bit on his stomach, suddenly telling Ayame the message so Hinata and Sasuke won't know. At least he would not tell them yet. Oh, I see. That's nice. Ichiraku, Ayame. It's a pleasure meeting you two. Fu, so what's number you are? Ayame asked Fu while winking. Fu's eyes widened as she realized what Ayame was asking her. She smirked at her as she replied, "7. This is Sasuke and Hinata. They are also from Konoha, while Fu's from Taki. Naruto, Sasuke, Fu, and Hinata and I spent the afternoon sharing stories about their lives back from their previous villages. They got closer to each other as they found themselves having each experienced an awful life. Although Fu had the worst while Naruto had the worst of them all. Konohagakure council meeting. The Kage was now having a strong headache. If he had problems to worry about for the last few days, he was now facing more. Saratobi have noticed and decided to call for another meeting regarding the events that has transpired last night and also excluded the civilian council. He just wanted to talk to the shinobis as the matters were more related to military and the civil. Alright, now let us get this started. Yesterday morning, two gate guards called for a medic team and had a woman admitted to the hospital. I also came to the gate when the woman was surrounded by a team. From what the woman has said, she was from a traveling family that were also merchants. They got ambushed just a few kilometers away from our main gate. The ambushers apparently were not regular bandits. They were Kumo and Iwa Rokinins, the Hokage said as he blew on his pipe and stared at Hiyashi. Hiyashi, I wanted to know what happened about your clan. Saratobi said, although he had an idea it was about the cage bird seals, he wanted to know more. The Yuga elders and I have seen Hinata unfit as heiress. An agreement was made that she lost against Neji, a branch member. Hinata will be stripped of her title as clan heiress and will be branded with the cage bird seal. The fight between the two occurred yesterday. She lost the fight and it was I, myself, who branched her with the seal. I proclaimed Hanabi as the new heiress, he said as he straightened up on his seat and cleared his throat. After the branding, I had two branch members escort her out. After the ceremony about Hanabi, all Hyugas returned to their own businesses. Only a few minutes later, another member reported about the deaths of the two branch members. There was no sign of battle. We found their heads slit from their bodies. They had been killed silently. We figured that the killers had been inside the compounds ever since the match started. Thank you for telling me that, Fugaku. Now tell me about your side. The murders of about 30 civilians happened near your compound, the Hokage said while glaring at the Uchiha head. While I was having a meeting with my wife, we were interrupted when some of the patrol reported to me that a recent slaughter of civilians that was near the marketplace. When they went to investigate, they spotted a group of Hyugas along with the way. They were told about two murderers before two of them spotted the ones responsible for the near Uchiha compound. They identified the three children. The Iwa and Kumonin got into the back, one of them being the QB brat. When we chased after them, we were surrounded by more Kumo Gakure and Iwa Gakure Nin and had to battle our way out since there were too many. So the woman was not lying then. Those rogue nins you fought were probably the ones responsible for killing her family. Yes, they mentioned something about us admitting a woman to the hospital. They threatened us for hitting the village, so we had to fight them. By the time we killed every last one of them, the kidnappers were already too far away and we could not locate them. I see. So Kumo and Iwa have teamed up on kidnapping one Yuga, one Uchiha, and our ultimate weapon, Shikaku. Saratobi said as he turned to the lazy head. This is too troublesome, but I'll put this together. So last week, we got a surprise raid from unknown attackers. The raid resulted in multiple property damage and stolen important items. 3 elders put into a coma and a whole village got into an epidemic. The most notable part here is that the Namikaze and the Uzumaki mansions were destroyed and the Yondam face on the mountain was blown up. Back then, we had no idea who the attackers were. We had our suspicions on Iwa and Kumo since the jutsus they were used were pure Doton and Drython. Kumo also suspected because of their hate for the Uzumaki Kushina for single-handedly destroying their army. Iwa is also a candidate because of their hate on the Yondam of single-handedly wiping out their army. Then this incident happened yesterday. A traveling woman was admitted to our hospital because of broke shinobis attacking her family and caravan. Night came. Kumo Nin were spotted trying to flee with the Yuga heirs and Fugaku's youngest son, Iwa Nin, were also spotted carrying the QB brat. They also easily killed off the civilians. They were trying to attack the brat. The kidnappers were able to flee the village while Konoha-nin followed them. As the Konoha-nin tried to get to the kidnappers, they were ambushed by bandits. They are also now identified as Kumo and Iwa rogue nins. The Leaf had been forced to kill all new nins, but the kidnappers have successfully fled back to their villages with the children they took. The Nara clan had stopped and yawned lazily before continuing. So to sum it up, Iwa and Kumo are probably working together and are the ones responsible for the raid as well. Yes, the chances for them being the suspects have been raised to 90% from 70, the Hokage said. What are your plans, Hokage-sama? What are we going to do about Iva and Kumo? We cannot go into a physical confrontation yet. For now, we will try to presume them in political ways. We'll insist on them giving us back what they have taken. But we will also prepare for war, just discreetly. I want everyone in active duty, on high alert. All Junins and Jonis that has a Genin team, most innings. As of this day, I want both Hyuga and Uchiha clan working together for the security. With the help of Byakugan's trespassers will have a hard time sneaking in. All the clan heads nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, Shikaku Nara was silently thinking. Kumo and Iwa destroyed the Yonda monument, as well as the Namikaze and Uzumaki state. They kidnapped Hyuga, Hinata, and Sasuke Uchiha. I can understand, since they came from the clan with the most powerful Dojutsu in Konoha. What bothers me is that the demon brat. Why would they want it? But for the gain, aside from it being a demon, there must be something else. Chapter 10. Suna Gakure, Kage's office. Are you ready, kids? Hi, please let us go to Uzushio Gakure already. My headache's getting worse because of the Shikaku. It won't stop screaming. Gaara said impatiently as he scratched his head. Alright then, Minato replied as he chuckled. Kazekage Dono. We will take good care of your children, so you have nothing to worry about us. I know you will, Minato-san. I trust they will be in good hands and will learn a lot. And thank you. The Kazekage replied as he bid his children goodbye. Right then, Gaara, Temari, Kankuro, hold hands. Naruto order. Waited for them. Gaara was in the middle, so Minato held Temari and Kankuro's other free hands and channeled his jutsu. A few moments later, there was a yellow flash, and the Kazekage was left alone in his office. Soon, Sunagakure will rise, higher than the leaf. Konoha will pay for their crimes, the Kazekage thought as he sat down and returned to his paperwork. Uzushio Gakure, Uzukage's office. The Uzukage, along with her 4 older children, were waiting for the arrival of Kazekage's children. They should be here in a few moments. Where are Naruto-kun and Fu-chan? She asked as she tapped at her desk. Everyone looked up as the door of the office opened and revealed Naruto and Fu, with Sasuke and Hinata falling behind. Sasuke and Hinata have already been informed about Naruto and Fu being Jinchuriki. Sasuke and Hinata and Naruto have become easily attached to each other and were inseparable since they were all from Konoha. They had something that linked the 3 of them with each other. When Sasuke and Hinata were taught about the tail beast and Jinchurikis, they immediately understood their kind and situation. They felt sorry for the Jinchurikis as their life were harsh and had to endure something great at a young age. Thankfully, they also figured out that the Jinchurikis were not harmful and were not the tail beast themselves. As they thought more about it, they realized that the description about them could be related with Naruto and Fu. After a while, the 2 newcomers were summoned at the Uzukage's office and were informed about her 2 children, Jinchuriki's distress. Sasuke and Hinata thankfully did not become hostile after and became friendlier with Naruto and Fu. They made the 2 Jinchurikis happy and made their bond stronger together. Now that other Jinchurikis was coming, they know something about their kind. Sorry we're late. Naruto grinned as they entered the room. Where are they? Just as he asked his question, there was a yellow flash, and out came his father along with 3 children. One of them was a girl with a fan on her back. One of them was a boy who looked like a cat because of his clothing, and last one was a red-headed boy who radiated an aura and had darker circles around his head. As the 4 newcomers got familiar with the new place, Naruto was the first one to greet them. Hello. Welcome to the Uzushio Gakure. The name's Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the future Uzukage. Datebayo, Naruto cheerfully said, making the other people in the room smile. Hello, I'm Kankuro, the catman said as he offered a hand. Wow, seriously? For a moment I thought you were half cat. With makeup, the blonde muttered as he shook his hand. Kankuro's sweat dropped while his siblings tried not to laugh but failed at it. Wow, cutie, I like you already. Sabuko no Tamari, the girl said while she was trying to stifle her laughter. Commenting about Kankuro's looks at first sight? Haha, I like you. Yes, I do. Sorry about that, Kankuro-san. Don't worry about it. Everyone think he is a catwoman with a makeup, the red-haired boy said as he tried to quieten his laughter. I'm Sabuko no Gaara. The 2 young Jinchuriki shook hands as they shared a laugh. The Kazekage children were acquainted with the other people in the room. After their interaction with Naruto, the Uzukage formally welcomed them to Uzushio Kakure and they got into a friendly conversation. As the Uzukage's children were talking with the Uzumaki Namikaze family members, a certain someone was screaming for bloody murder. Naruto was telling them a story when suddenly he became silent. Naruto and Fu got tense and stared at Gaara. Naruto-kun, Fu, there's something wrong. Gaara has something sealed inside of him, aside from our brother Shikaku. Chaume and Kurama both said to their hosts. The Uzukage noticed her son's stance and inquired, Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Naruto stared at his mother and was not able to respond, only giving her a scared look. This made the Uzukage, Minato, and Naruto siblings alert. Your head hurts, doesn't it? Naruto said to Gaara, making him wide-eyed in surprise. How do you know? Gaara asked. Kurama-chan, and I can feel it. Shikaku screaming. We can almost hear it. Something's off in radiation. Yes, Jaume says the same thing. Fu added. Ka-chan, something is wrong. We need to get Gaara into an open area where there are no peoples. Now, Tozukage understood what her son meant and immediately called for the storm hidden in the office and warned 2 sealing teams and at the sealing grounds. One immediately. Minato made 2 clones and had one of them, Hiroshin, Hinata, and Sasuke out of the office and brought to the mansion, while the other clones went for Mio and Miho. Tosan, we're coming. We'll help, please, Minako and Narumi said. Hey, what's going on? Tamari asked. Now worried, Shikaku and another one is going out of Gaara. Not replied. Another one? Kankuro asked, completely baffled. Yes, who replied. Just then Gaara screamed in agony while he clutched his head. Minato grabbed him and quickly Hiroshin to the ceiling ground. 1. Kushina followed and vanished in the red flash. Minako grabbed Naruto and Fu while Narumi took Kankuro and Tamari hands. They followed the Uzukage and Hiroshin out of the office. Sealing Ground 1. Sealing Ground 1 is a huge open space meant for sealing tail beasts and keeping them at bay. It has been applied with numerous amounts of seals in order to surpass the tail beast's chakra and to keep it from rampaging. The place is located on another side of the island, away from the village, for added safety. Minato quickly put down Gaara in the middle of the island, where a hexagon seal was drawn. As soon as Gaara touched the floor, the seal in the island glowed. The hexagon seal in the middle rose and formed a prism, holding the red-haired boy in a grip-like hold, but not hurting him. The Uzukage appeared in a red flash, known by Naruto and the others. A few moments later, 8 more people came via Sunshine. Blood. Yes, blood. Kill them all. Prove your existence. Prove our existence. Gaara screamed in pain and lost consciousness. This caused Shikaku to come out of his seal. Faster. Freedom. Yes. Time to kill. Yes, let us kill all some filthy mortals. What is this? Get these shackles off of me. We cannot be fully awake with these seals. What is this? Kurama wondered. I can feel another presence. It's the same one earlier. It's not from the boy. It's radiation from Shikaku himself. Yo sis, Chaume said as Naruto and Fu got linked. The aura doesn't feel like it's immortal. Yes, it's only mortal, but powerful, I wonder. Prepare to knock out the Shikaku, the Uzukage ordered, as she, Minato, Minako, Narumi, and the 8 other storm got into a double hexagon formation with the beast at the middle. Kankuro and Tamari were ordered to keep a distance as they restrained the giant raccoon. Uzumaki yard, double hexagon seal. No! I just woke up. My existence. I have to prove my existence. Shikaku bellowed as a double hexagon seal lit up from the 12 people position. A different colored beam shot out of the sky and connected from 2 hexagon prisms, one inside and another one biggest outside. The prism started to move towards the middle as it slowly shrunk, encasing the one-tailed beast and causing it to lose hold. Let us out! We need to prove our existence. Die, you filthy mortals! I shall punish you with the light. Ugh. It stopped screaming as its head hit the ceiling of the prism and got pushed down. The prism glowed a brighter color and more seals appeared inside the prism. The Ichibi tried to fight but was overpowered by the seal. After a few moments, it lost consciousness and returned back into Gaara's seal. The prison remained active for about 3 more minutes. to make sure the HP was resealed back inside and will go to sleep. Gaara woke up a few minutes after the seal went off. Temarian Conqueror was immediately by his side and was fussing over him. Okay, whoever did your seal, he or she really sucked, Naruto commented as he too got near Gaara. The seal was faulty. The one who did it must have been a low-level sealer and probably wanted Gaara dead, Minato told the Sabuko family, and while Kushina applied some healing seals on Gaara. Gaara, how are you feeling now? I'm fine, thank you, Uzukage-sama. Thank you so much. The Shikaku has gone silent now. I think it's sleeping. Let's go back to the village. I want you and your siblings to stay at the hospital for a while. Also, we can check on your health conditions. We will also have your seal checked so we can begin overriding it as soon as possible. They all returned to the village and Sabuka siblings were confined to the hospital for a few hours before they got released. Gaara was placed inside a room with the seals to keep the Shikaku at bay and not bother him. Sasuke, Hinata, Naruto, and Fu visited the red-haired boy and they shared stories. Meanwhile, Chaume and Kurama was having a conversation through their host mental link. They were discussing about the strange entity they felt earlier when their brother Shikaku got out from Gaara. They noticed that the beast was talking strangely and was saying we instead of I. They didn't fail to take note when he screamed something about punishing mortals with the light. It was just not him. They knew Shikaku never talked like that. Kumo Gakure. It was a normal day at Kumo Gakure. The villagers and shinobi were doing their own business when one of the glasses of Raikage's office exploded, followed by what looked like a human being tossed out. Everyone in the village could almost hear the leader's angry burst. What? What do you mean? You do not have the Heiress. Mabui, the Raikage's assistant, can also be heard trying to calm her boss down so the whole village won't have to hear him. Raikage-sama, please, you need to calm down and please put down Jay. Please, he's going to die from suffocation. The Raikage grunted in response, but thankfully he put down the Kumo kidnapper captain. Raikage's office. The Raikage took a deep breath and ordered his shinobi to report. Jay coughed a bit and straightened himself before taking a low breath. Report, we successfully able to infiltrate Konoha without any problems. We got inside the Yuga compound and saw it empty. We waited in the shadows for some time and finally saw the heroes unconscious carried by two Yuga slaves. Two of us followed them and silently killed the two branch members and then placed the heroes in a bag. We got outside the village compound without any problems and immediately headed for the way out. After we escaped, the alarm went on and we found ourselves cornered near the Uchiha compound. Before we got out, we bumped into the ones of the Uchiha here. We also had him knocked unconscious and placed inside our sack for bonus. As we prepared to fight, we also found two Ivanins, one of them carrying an unconscious boy. The leader of the two asked for a team up as we skipped Konoha. She figured that we were also kidnapping someone and didn't give a thing about it, as long as we helped each other out. I agreed and both of our teams battled together against Konohans and some civilians we decided to get in our way. When easily wiped them out and managed to escape to the forest. We lost the pursuers for some time, but they were able to catch up on us as we got near the border. There we decided to halt and face our pursuers. We prepared for a fight. They were able to snatch the children we were kidnapping and we had to chase after them. We followed them and found ourselves cornered by Konohanin. We battled for a good 10 minutes and destroyed the forest in the process. In the end, we got our Tenketsu point sealed off by the Yuga and we got overpowered by the Uchiha Sharingan. Before we lost consciousness, we saw the Konohanins get killed. When we woke up, we found their bodies and children were gone. My team suspects Eva of treachery but decided to call it off as we saw them as confused as we were. When we woke up, we all woke up the same time and searched for the area but we found none. In the end, we decided to call the search off and go our separate ways and go back to our own village. So that's it. That's how you lost your captives. Hi, Raikage-sama. Jay replied nervously as he could feel the boss killer intent leaking again. Bro, you need to calm down. I don't want you to throw out many of the fools outside. These poor fools are saying the truth. I know because I am Killer B, the Jinchuriki of the Hachibi. Yeah, baby. Raikage's brother B said while rapping. I wonder who killed these nins. We both do not know. Brother, Hachibi says he also trying to figure it out. Yo. Their meeting was interrupted when the door flew open, revealing a panting Jonin who looked nervous. Raikage-sama, forgive me for sudden intrusion, but I got urgent news. We just received a message from the Hokage, and through his messenger delivery burst, the Jonin said as he shakily handed the letter to Raikage. The Raikage took the scroll and glared at the Jonin. Well, what are you waiting for? Get the hell out of here, the Raikage shouted as he grabbed the poor Jonin and threw him outside of his office by the glass window. Kirby watched in amusement as the Jonin got thrown outside. He took a notepad and began writing rhymes on it. Iwagakure, Tsuchikage's office. The Tsuchikage was happily waiting inside his office when he heard his granddaughter, and her partner have returned home from their mission. His happy face immediately fell when Kurotsuchi entered the office with a smug look, followed by Akatsuchi, who looked nervous. Do I need to ask that you do not have the boy? Onoki asked, as his granddaughter with a frown. Kurotsuchi didn't respond, but instead sat by the chair opposite to her grandfather's. Tsuchikage-sama, Akatsuchi said as he bowed. Onoki nodded in response and motioned for him to take a seat. All right, tell me what happened. Report. We managed to get inside the fire country without any problems. We made a camp near Konoha forest and had our 4 clones scout the village. But nightfall, we took out our camp and infiltrated the village. As we got inside, we immediately saw a huge mob chasing after a boy. The boy was our target, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. Kurotsuchi immediately sprung into action to help attacking the mob and summoning the Doom to protect the boy. I rushed by her side and fought the civilians. We had to kill them since we could not risk the boy getting harmed, and they were also bent on trying to murder us as well. We easily killed the mob and urgently headed out. As we got near the Uchiha command, we found ourselves face to face with a team of Kumo shinobi. What happened to the kidnapping the Yoga Heirs and the Uchiha's had youngest son? They were involved in it. We got cornered by the civilians then, who tried to fight us, and by some Konoha nins who were chasing the Kumo nins. We easily killed them off as we have decided to team up. We got outside the forest and were pursued by Konoha nins. We got near by the fire border. We decided to fight our pursuers. They managed to snatch the children from our grasp and we needed to chase after them. We got surrounded by more Konoha nins and battled them for a good 10 minutes. We destroyed the forest in the process, but in the end, we got defeated by the combined power of the Byakugan, the Sharingan. Before we lost consciousness, we saw the Kumo nins being slaughtered. When we woke up, we found their bodies, but there were no sign of the children. We were kidnapping. We searched for them, but found no traces. Kurotsuchi and I suspect Kumo for treachery, but decided to call it off as they realized they were just as confused as us. Both of our teams woke up at the same time. In the end, we decided to part our ways and head back to our own villages. I see. I wonder. Curious. Very curious. Could Konoha be trying to misguide us? Tsuchikage murmured to himself while the two watched. He was interrupted from his thoughts when he heard a knock. The knock sounded urgent as he immediately ordered for the person to get inside. Tsuchikage-sama, urgent message from the Konoha. It was brought by one of their fastest messenger birds. Jonin said as he handed the scroll to the leader. Thank you, Onoki said as Jonin nodded and exited the room. He unsealed the scroll and began reading it. Konoha Gakure, Okage's office. Okage-sama, the messenger birds have returned. They have gotten our messages, a figure said as he kneeled. The Okage was facing the window while blew his pipe. Good, now I want you to find Jiraiya and tell him to see me immediately. The Hokage said, another one looking at the Anbu. Hi, flashback, last night, Raikage/Tsuchikage Dono. I regret to inform you that I deeply offended by your recent actions. The attack on Konoha during the time of peace is simply outrageous. When you raided the villages, we were obviously caught off guard, and we were surprised. And add to the fact that you took some of our scrolls, the Uzumaki and the Namikaze clan scrolls, to be exactly. You also had the gall to blow up the Yondam Hokage's face and destroy the Uzumaki and Namikaze clans, mentions after you took what you wanted. We had our suspicions that Eva and Kumo were the ones who did the raid on us, but I decided not to press on it, as I did not want our villages to get into another misunderstanding. But now that you have returned and decided to kidnap important people from our village, I cannot longer ignore that fact that you have committed great offenses against us. I am a peaceful man. I wish to keep the peace between the 5 great nations. I hope you feel the same. Konoha Gakure would be very grateful if you return the items and peoples that you have taken. I would also like to let you know that I, the Sandem Hokage, still respects the treaty and wishes for you to continue it. Return what you have taken, and Konoha will forget about the recent events. Sort of Hiruzen, Sandem Hokage. The Hokage straighten up. As he finished writing the letter, addressing to the Evo and Kumo leaders, Shikaku, I would like you to read this and tell me if it is alright. The Lady Nara yawned and thought it was too troublesome, but looked at the letter for the Hokage and read it. Seems fine to me. The threat is still there, even if it is hidden. The Hokage nodded and looked at the Shikaku. Tell me, what do you think shall we do if they do not return them? We cannot go into a physical confrontation at the moment, so we do our best against them. Would be politically in that matter. We'll try to drag other nations to this and ask them for help. We'll try to pressure them as much as possible. We could threaten to cut off trade and routes if they do not cooperate. That should work. That's a bit risky. Saratobi commented, risky, yes, but it is our best option. Shikaku shrugged as he took a look at the Hokage. By the way, Hokage-sama, how are the talks with Suna? Suna hasn't responded to any of our messages ever since the raid. You don't think? Shikaku said. Did not finish the sentence as it was obvious. I hope not, Shikaku. If Suna is also involved, then I'm afraid to say that Konoha would be at a disadvantage. We could take on 2 villages at the same time, but if you make it 3, we will have problems. Even if we say we have allies, fighting against the 3 of the great nations will be difficult. That's unless we ally with Kirigakure. An alliance with Kiri would be beneficial if Suna is really our possible enemy now. Yes, I'll look into that. I'll start making preparations for the possible alliance between Kumo and Kiri. Konoha and Kiri. For now, let us hope that Kumo and Iba return what they have taken from us. Saratobi said, deciding to finish the meeting. Shikaku, have this letter sent by the fastest messenger person. The Hokage ordered as they finished spelling the scrolls. One copy of the Raikage and another one of the Tsujikage. Hi, good night, Hokage-sama. See you tomorrow morning again. Good night, Shikaku. Saratobi said as the Nara had exited the office. The Hokage cleaned up his desk and also got out of the office to his bed. End of the flashback. Uzushio Gakure. We will have to meet up with an arrangement to set Shikaku free. We will contain it while we erase the seal from Gaara. After erasing the seal, we will immediately prepare the double hexagon sealing on him, as the Shikaku won't bother Gaara too much when he gets sealed once again. The Uzukage explained to Gaara and his siblings, with Naruto and Fu also listening to him. Kachan, Kurama-chan says she got something important to tell you, Naruto said as he waited for his mother's response. Alright, what is it? Naruto closed his eyes and connected, letting Kurama take over for the moment so she could relay the message. Kushina, when my brother Shikaku got out his seal earlier, Chomi and I noticed something. Shikaku was talking in a manner he shouldn't be. He was talking about himself, but saying we instead of I. He also mentioned something about purging mortals with the light. Shikaku was never the religious type. There was something else in him. Yes, Chome said, through Fu, who also joined the conversation. If I recall correctly, Shikaku's first Jinchuriki was a priest, and the seal was unstable ever since Shikaku changed and became weird. From what we observed, Shikaku is probably channeling the spirit of his first Jinchuriki. It is also possible that a part of the priest's soul has been sealed within Shikaku's mind, as the seal was a failure. Kurama said, if we're going to unleash Shikaku, we must extract the priest from him first before we release him back to this village and back inside Gaara then. Kurama and Chome finished switching back and allowing Naruto and Fu regain control of their bodies. So the story about the priest is true then? Kushina said to herself, has the priest always been mad? The Uzukage asked. Kurama-chan says she's not sure. Alright, so we will have to extract the priest from Shikaku first before we seal him inside Gaara. Excuse me? Gaara interrupted. I can feel the Shikaku stirring. I think he's about to wake up. Alright then, we will do it in 10 minutes. I'll have some people come over to assist. Kachan, I would like to watch. I want to be there with Gaara for support. Naruto requested his mother with his puppy-eye jutsu, making his mother's heart melt. Alright, Naruto-kun. Just be sure that you are at a distance when the process starts, alright? Alright then. Thank you, Kachan. The boy replied and hugged his mother. Can I come too? Fu asked. 10 minutes later, back to the sealing compound 1. Gaara, are you ready? The Uzukage asked. The boy laid down with his shirt off, making the seal on his stomach visible. Hi, Uzukage-sama, please begin. The Uzukage nodded to the storm in the island, signaling them to get ready as they made handshakes. Fuin, release, she said as she slammed her hand on Gaara's seal, making it glow. The Uzukage also applied a sleeping seal on Gaara, to help Shikaku get out faster. Within a minute, the HB have finally gotten out. Gaara was immediately brought to a safe distance and was surrounded by storm, where 2 of the storm were erasing his current seal. Yes, freedom at last. Now we can prove our existence. The HB cackled merrily as it began scanning the surrounding. It sensed the other living beings in the island and immediately headed to the location where the Kuzukage was waiting. We found you, mortal. You suck at hiding. Now, time to prove our existence. Die, mortal. Die by the light. Ha ha ha. It madly laughed as it opened its mouth, gathering chakra. The Uzukage immediately recognized it as a Bijudama. She activated her Rinnegan and waited for the attack to be unleashed at her. Gakairo, Petrapat, the Uzukage called as the Bijudama headed towards her. She held out her palm as the Bijudama bombed near her. A vacuum-like spear appeared in front of her palm and began sucking the energy ball. The Bijudama began to shrink as it got sucked by the Gakairo. Ugh. This is too much chakra, Nizukage said as the ball got fully absorbed. She now felt dizzy and heavy. What? You absorbed it? Ah, never mind. We will see if you can absorb another one. The demon laughed as it began to create another tail beast bomb. The Ichibi blasted it towards the Uzukage, and once again she tried to absorb it, but it got smaller. But one-fourth the size of it before it exploded, sending her flying away and crashing into the wall. I am such an idiot. Note to self, the Petra path isn't that effective against Bijudamas, Kushina thought as she scrambled up. She now released the chakra she absorbed earlier and felt light again. Here it comes, she thought as the Ichibi found her and roared towards her. You still alive? As it roared, it forgot about making another tail beast bomb and simply decided to attack the Uzukage using physical attacks. Kushina dodged a tail swipe that was aimed towards her, destroying the wall in the process. Alright, you wanna play, huh? She said as she unsheathed her katana. Now, Ichibi-san, let me show you why I'm called the Red Death. She smirked and began laughing maniacally. Let's dance, she said as she bowed and vanished. The Uzukage began slashing and stabbing the Ichibi at random spots, vanishing and reappearing with a flash of red. This infuriated the Ichibi, making it roar in frustration. Now, to level up this dance session, she said as she produces 3 shadow clones. The 4 Kushinas charged at the demon and began attacking it relentlessly, while the Shikaku got annoyed and started shooting small tail beast bombs at random locations, hoping it will hit the mortal attacking it. Why can't I hit you? Why cannot you lose, mortal? It roared in frustration as Uzukage continued with her dance. Great, it's just have to tire. It's so I could begin with the extraction, she thought as she made 5 more clones and had them attack the Ichibi using the 5 different elements. The battle had been ongoing for 10 minutes now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the island, Naruto was watching the storm as they finished erasing the current seal torn on Gaara. They were now preparing the place, a new seal and a stable seal and a new seal on Gaara. I wonder how Kachan is doing, Naruto said as he looked to the other side of the island where explosions were coming around. She'll be fine. Fu, who was also watching, said. Chomin insisted on her coming as she was curious about the new seal the Uzukage people were going to apply on Gaara. Then without warning, Naruto just dropped to the floor unconscious. Naruto-kun? Naruto-kun! Fu shouted in panic as she tried to wake him up. Suddenly Naruto began floating, with his head hung low. The storm who was with them watched in awe and fear as Naruto opened his eyes, revealing purple rings at once. By the gods, Chomin said as she watched the scene happen through Fu's eyes. Fu in her mindscape. What the? How come I can see Naruto-kun on a different point of view? Kurama asked herself and looked around. She noticed that she was in a different place. Who's there? How come you inside Fu's mind? Chome-kun? Kurama asked, recognizing her sister's voice. Kurama-ne-chan, what are you doing here? How is that possible? I do not know. Fu outside Fu's mindscape. Everyone in the area who was shaking in fear as Naruto was radiating a purple and powerful aura. Fear not, Naruto said as he made the peace sign towards the storm, his voice sounding deep and ancient and echoed. Return to your work. The seal must be prepared when I extract the priest from my son. What in the world? Kurama and Chome both said as they watched the scene unfold. Naruto then began floating towards the area where his mother and the Ichibi were fighting. Fu, follow him, Chome said as she channeled her chakra out for Fu. The girl then grew wings and flew after Naruto. Kushina's POV. Kushina had been battling the Ichibi for 20 minutes now and noticed that her attacks were doing a little damage than before. Every time she landed a hit on the Ichibi, a whitish aura come out of it. She figured that it was some kind of shield After some time, she found out that it was probably the light, quote unquote, the priest inside Shikaku that was talking about, that was protecting it, as she could not recognize it as one of the Ichibi's power. As she prepared to launch another wave of outburst attacks, she felt a very strong chakra signature approaching towards her. She looked at this direction and found her son floating with Fu following after him. She was shocked. She saw her son's eyes. She found herself unable to move as she saw her son touch her face. "My child, let me handle this. Bring this boy here and prepare to reseal my son inside him. I will be the one to extract the priest from Shikaku." Normal POV. Naruto did not wait for a reply and immediately floated towards Ichibi. "What is this?" As it roared, "Time for you to go to the afterlife. You have prolonged your stay in this realm. Leave my son be as it is," Naruto said as he floated towards the Shikaku head and held out his hand. "Ningendo, human part." "No! I want it. I don't want to go there yet. I am protected by the Lord's light. I shall stay here as he commands. I must prove my existence," a voice said, and Naruto began to pull out something that looked like a soul. Soon it materialized and formed into a bow man wearing a suit and tie. "Seal, hold," Naruto said as a ghost-like chain wrapped around the priest, preventing it from moving. "Kyochuse, Shinigami," a huge spectral form appeared in front of him and bowed. Naruto nodded and held out his arm and motioned at the priest. The creature then bowed and floated towards the mad priest. The priest stared at the figure and started to scream in panic as the Shinigami grabbed him. He was eaten and was locked inside his stomach, the way Minato experienced when he sealed the cube inside Naruto. "Now you are free from your burden." Naruto spoke to look at Ichibi as he stared in sleep. "My son, when you wake up, you will be sealed inside Gaara once again. Be friends with him," he said as his voice started to fade. Kushina, who was too dumbstruck, did not move earlier to fetch Gaara. She was rooted at her place and watched as her son talked in a different kind of way and extracted the priest out of Shikaku. Thankfully, the storm followed after Naruto and Fu and carried Gaara with them. Kushina began to regain herself as she watched Naruto's aura begin to weaken and return to the normal. She was able to catch her son when he finally lost consciousness. Fu's mindscape. "Oh, look, what is this?" Kurama said as she felt a tugging sensation. "I guess I'm going back inside Naruto-kun's mind." Chome, who was also dumbstruck, wasn't able to respond as Kurama vanished and returned to Naruto's mindscape. Outside Fu's mindscape, everyone was staring at Naruto's unconscious form in disbelief. Most of the storm were still shaken after witnessing the things he did earlier. They were awakened from their stupor as they heard the Shikaku roar. "Everyone, on your positions," Kushina said as she made a clone and had it carry Naruto away. Fu followed after them, while the Uzukage and the storm started releasing the Ichibi back inside Gaara. "Uzumaki Yard, Daban Hexagon Seal." Two hexagon prisms appeared, one bigger and one smaller. The bigger one floated towards Ichibi and trapped it inside, while the smaller one floated towards Gaara and did the same thing. A double hexagon appeared on the boy's stomach and connected with the two prisms. The big prism started to shrink as Shikaku was once again sealed inside Gaara. The seal glowed brightly and slowly died out as the seal began to stabilize. "We're done here. Everyone come with me immediately to my office," the Uzukage said seriously as she made two clones and had the one carry Gaara and the other one carried Fu. The next day, Konohagakure, the Hokage was puffing smoke with the pipe as he thought of the words written in the letters for the Mizukage. Shikaku, along with the other clan heads, were also there present. They have been discussing about their planned alliance proposal to Kiri. They have also been waiting for the response from Iwa and Kumo leaders. Hiyashi having already assured to the other people in the room about the cage bird seals. He told them about it being branded on Hinata. Konoha wouldn't have to worry about Kumo now discussing the Byakugan secrets and making more by having Hinata used by Kumo as a breeding factory. The Uchiha, on the other hand, have expressed their concern about the Sharingan. Fukaku could not care about his son but was worried about their Genkai being stolen by enemies of Konoha. The Hokage straightened up as he finished his letter and called for one Anbu and ordered it to be delivered to Kiri. A few seconds later, another Anbu left. There was a knock on the door. A Chunin entered the room and handed Sarutobi a scroll. The old monkey inspected it and found Earth Seal inscribed on it, meaning it was from Tsuchikage. Iwagakure has responded, the Hokage announced, sealing the attention of all of them. He unsealed the scroll and read it aloud. and everyone in the room here. Greetings, Hokage Dono. First of all, I would like to inform you that I am deeply wounded by your words. You accused of Eva of attacking Konoha while my village has done nothing to you. I am too a man of peace. I do not wish war between the five great nations. So I would like to tell you about the Eva being innocent. Second, we have received intelligence about Ivanin near your village. I want Konoha to know that those shinobis are rogue and were no longer affiliated with Eva when the attack on your village happened. It could be possible that it was them who did it, but once again, I tell you that Eva has nothing to do about that offensive move against Konoha. I do not I do hope that we could continue the peace between our villages and clear some misunderstandings that have begun and come forth. Onoki of the both scales. Sandam Tsuchikage. The Hokage finished reading and put down the scroll down. He stared at the council before him and took down a breath. Eva has chosen to play innocent, he remarked. Hi, we cannot just pretend that we did not receive the Tsuchikage's reply, Shikaku suggested. I was thinking of the same thing, ignoring the letter and send another one. After a few days, replied Sarutobi. Just then, there was another knock on the door. The person was left inside and handed the Hokage another scroll. Hokage-sama, message from Kumo. The Jonin said as he presented a scroll with the Raikage seal on it. The Hokage took it from the Jonin and unsealed it. Reading its content, compared to the Tsuchikage's message, the Raikage response was obviously more aggressive and straightforward. Hokage Dono, you are making great accusations. Kumo does not have it. We may have tried something 3 years ago, but raiding and stealing from Konoha is simply not our style. I have heard about the Yondam face getting blown up and the Namikaze and Uzumaki belongings taken. Kumo has nothing to do with it. Feel free to visit Kumo and inspect every single area here, and you will find nothing. Perhaps you should try considering looking for your lost things again. Search your whole village. I do not wish for our current status to go into an unfriendly status. As the Raikage, I only wish what's best for our village, and including that is not going to war. A. Yondam Raikage. Sarutobi just sighed and announced Kumo also wanted to play innocent, but they are obviously hinting war. I think it would be best if we do not respond for now. Our top priorities will be Kiri Gakure. We need to make the deal with the Mizukage and fast. Chicago stated, earning notes of agreement from the other clan heads. I did not expect them to respond like this. If we insist about them being guilty, it will only give them reason to declare war on us. The Hokage said, for now we will need to contact Kiri and make an alliance with them as soon as possible. Hiyashi, Fugaku, I am assigning you two as diplomats to Kirigakure. You will deliver the letter I will be writing and some gifts for them. Understood. The two Dojutsu clan heads replied. Uzushio Gakure, a day has been passed since the incident about Naruto happened. The Uzukage immediately called for a storm meeting with the storm that was present on the island. She made a strict order for them to keep everything a secret. They are not to tell anyone about what they saw. Kushina also spoke to Fu and also told her the same thing. The girl understood and agreed as Chomi told her to keep things secret. Chomi and Kurama were still shocked about what happened and still needed to think about it. Naruto was currently at the Uzukage's mansion, his room surrounded by 3 squads of storm, every single one of them protecting him. His mysterious transformation yesterday, he still hasn't regained consciousness after that. His mother was now worried sick for his well-being. Doctors are checking up on him every 24/7. Kushina also shoved the memory of the events yesterday to her family. After watching the memory, Arashi felt the room speechless. While Minato, Minako, Narumi, Mio, and Miho remained inside the room, while Kushina and discussed about it. Kaede left the room sometime later after hearing Minato and Kushina's suggestion some theories and went to the library to check some books. Gaara was now stable and had no memories of the events yesterday. He woke up into the morning feeling far better than before. He could hear the Shikaku peacefully snoring inside his mind. Gaara decided to try and contact his Biju later. He was currently with his siblings Kankura and Tomari strolling around the village. Meanwhile, Sasuke and Hinata were with Fu currently at a private room in the library reading books about the Uzumaki clan and the state of the 6 paths. The Uzumaki have already explained to them about their clan's secret Dojutsu and some information about it. So here they are at the library reading more about information while waiting for their friends Naruto to recover, since nobody was allowed to enter his room except the Uzukage, her husband, the former Uzukage, and the head of the storm, Uzushio Gakure office. Kushina cloned her currently doing paperwork while her original was watching over Naruto. Minato was also at the office reading books about the sage connection with the tail beast while he was also helping the Kushina clone at the same time. Just then a ripple of water appeared on the floor and a kneeling figure appeared. Uzukage-sama received an intelligence about Konoha contacting Kumo and Iwa. The Konoha Hokage planned on blackmailing them, but apparently it backfired. Here are the copies of the message and their responses. The water figure said as it took out 4 scrolls and handed it to the Uzukage. The Kushina clone and Minato sealed the scroll and read them. After reading, the clone dispelled herself and transferred the memories to the original. Good. Kumo and Iwa will be acting cold against Konoha, but the Leaf will do the same. Their relationship with each other will be now on thin ice that is about to break. When the time comes, it will be easier for Uzushio Gakure to destroy them all at the same time. The Uzukage thought to herself as she waited for Naruto to wake up. Whew. Now this is a long part. Anyways, I will continue on for about half an hour more since, I may not or may be uploading tomorrow as well. Chapter 11 Uzushio Gakure. A few days have passed since Gaara's seal has been fixed. Naruto woke up 2 days later with no recollection of what happened. The Uzukage then decided to keep it a secret from him for his own good. Fu had been told not to tell Naruto, and through their mental links, Chomi also told Kurama to not mention it to her host. Life in Uzushio Gakure became nicer for Naruto as he has now more friends that are around his age. There were also 2 Jinchurikis like him who will become a part of his life as he grows older. Naruto and his friends have started learning about the basic fundamentals of chakra with the help of some tutors. Since Naruto already knew about the basics, he along with Sasuke and been grouped with Temari and Kankuro for some reason to study history lessons and theories while they waited for the others to catch up. Uzushio Gakure Academy. The school semester will begin in a week. Naruto and the others have been enrolled and were currently taking an orientation. Their proctor was currently telling them about the ranking systems. Now, here in Uzushio Gakure, our standards are higher compared to the other schools from the villages. Students have 7 years of studying in the academy. Those who just started school are called academy students. After 3 years as the academy students, they must take a test to be able to go to their 4th year. If they pass this test, they will be now registered to the village as genins. In their 4th year, students are teamed with other students, each of them consisting of 3 genin and an instructor. Here they will now begin doing simple missions and along everything they have learned in their first 3 years as an academy student while also learning to work with a team. During the first 3 months of their 4th year, the instructor will observe the team and see if they are compatible with each other. In this stage, team members could still be changed if the instructor finds them incompatible. As they progress to their 6th year, they should be now prepared to missions outside the village. In their 7th and final year, they will be now taking missions outside the village. Here they will be sent to other villages to spy, assassinate, steal or deliver something. If they survive the year, they will now graduate the academy and will be registered with the rank of higher genin or chunin depending on their performance for their 7 years. The proctor said as he stopped walking and faced Naruto and his group. If you are confused, here is a approach about the level system. The proctor then gave them a leaflet about the ranking system. Naruto and his friend took a copy and read: Year, level and rank. Year 1, grade 1 academy student. Year 2, grade 2 academy student. Year 3, same. Year 4, grade genin 1. Year 2, grade genin 2. Year 6, grade 3 genin. Year 7, senior genin. Graduate, high genin or lower chunin. Are you guys finished? Good. Moving on, the proctor then opened the door and led them outside the room. The proctor then led them to a huge open area. Here is our track and field area. Physical education classes are usually held here. Seals have been applied to this ground for changes the terrain depending on what kind of body training the class is having. For example, if I want to strengthen my resistance to cold, the proctor then made hand seals and slammed this palm to the ground. The field then turned into a frozen field. Snow began to fall and the wind picked up, sending chills breezes. The proctor made a single hand seal and turned the terrain back to the normal. There, you got it? Good. Moving on. Next, they went to another huge open area. Here is our school's training ground number 1. Ninjutsu classes are usually held here. The grounds of this village and area had been applied with repairing seals. After every session, the ground automatically restored itself. They moved on to the next area and were on besides the lake. There is our training ground number 2, also used as ninjutsu classes. Here students also learn water walking and other things related to Suiton Jutsu. Next is our training ground 3. The proctor led to the huge forest. This is where students do combined sparring, taijutsu, ninjutsu, kenjutsu, and other shinobi-related things. Capturing the flag, defending the base, capture the base, war games, stealth, and other things are done here, like the training ground number 1. Seals have been applied also here. The difference now is that the seals restore and reconstruct the area every week to retrain, changing the another so the students will get used to different kinds of unfamiliar areas and new ones. The proctor then said, "Imagine if the area doesn't change, and that will be boring, right? We will get so used to it and learn nothing new. Now, if the area changes, students will learn to adapt to new areas, and it will be easier for them when they get outside on their 7th year. You guys get my point, perfect. Now, let us move on." The proctor then led the group to a building. The building was huge, with divisions of each section to it. Here is our dojo. This is where we learn kinjutsu. During your years as a student, you will learn to use different kinds of weapons. You will be promoted to choose a primary weapon, but you still be required to learn using everything, alright? Let's move on. The proctor then led the group back to the first building where they held the orientation. The group followed him to a room about the size of the regular classroom. Alright, this room is applied with seals that will transport our to another location. The group followed him to a room about the size of a regular classroom. Alright, this room is applied with seals that will transport us to another location. The proctor said as he activated a switch and the room glowed red. As the seal activated, soon the group found themselves on a very large area. On the far side there was a forest, on the other side there was a lake. On the other side was a group of mountains with lava flowing down. On the side where the last side was a huge gathering of storm clouds. Naruto and his friends inspected their new area in awe and with interest. "Where are we?" Wu asked. "My dear friends, welcome to training ground number 4. This is where you will be training with your summons. As you have learned from your Uzushio Gakure's orientation, all villagers, civilians, and shinobis alike are born to personal summons. For students, this is where we train with our summons. Here you will learn collaborating attacks with them, fighting with them, and also strengthening your bonds with them. Now, please follow me," the proctor said as they headed to the forest. After about 10 minutes of walking, they spotted in front of a medium-sized 2-story cabin. "Now this is where our orientation ends," he said as the door opened of the house. "Welcome everyone, I hope you like your orientation," a familiar voice said. "Ka-chan, To-chan," Naruto squealed in excitement. "What are you doing here?" "Well, since you're all new to Uzushio Gakure and entering the academy, you'll need summons. We're here to have you sign your summoning contracts," the Uzukage replied as she took out a scroll from her pocket. "Alright," Naruto exclaimed as he pumped his fist in the air. "What shall we do?" Kushina just smiled at her son as Minato opened the door and the cabin ushered to the group. "We will have lunch first. Come in." Naruto and his group followed inside and were amazed by the house. It looked more spacious compared to how it looked outside. They were also greeted by Naruto's siblings as they got into a dining area. "Nee-chan, Nee-san, what are you doing here?" Naruto asked his siblings happily. "Well, since you're finally having your contract with the dragon active, we're here to accompany you," Minako replied. "The ceremony requires all family members of the Uzukage's family represent if one of them in signing a contract," Narumi replied. "And besides, we cannot miss our baby brother's initiation with the dragon clan, can we?" Mio and Miho both replied. "Alright, let's have lunch," Kushina said as serfs entered the room carrying platters of food. Sunagakure outskirts, a mild sandstorm was brewing at the stand. Sand dust flew all over. As the wind picked up, a lone hooded figure could be seen as it walked hurriedly towards the city's walls. As it got nearer, it looked around and checked if there were sentries watching. Finding none, the hooded figure took out a kunai and a scaling rope with a hook for his robe. The unknown person walked near the wall and prepared to throw the rope. Before the intruder could toss it open, he exploded into a blood and gore. Sunagakure main gate. Three gate guards were stationed at the main gate. Two of them watched in far distance as the sandstorm blew. The silence was broken when they heard their other companion call for their attention as he saw the sea glow. There was a miniature city placed by the desk in the guard house. A certain part of the wall in the mini city was glowing red. "Look, an intruder. Call for the Anbu," he said. "Alright, you stay here," one of the two others said. "I'll report this to the Kage immediately. You got the Anbu?" The other one said. The two guards jumped off the place in their village and left for their companion alone. Sunagakure Hospital, Sarmation Room. 20 minutes later, we found his remains by the southern wall. "Here are the scrolls, spy was carrying," an Anbu retorted as the Kazekage took the scrolls and began to read them. So this one's from Konoha, eh? They have sent us spies since we are not responding to any of their messages. They would not leave us alone in peace. It is a great thing about Uzukage-sama and you did the seal protective, Kazekage-sama, commented the Anbu captain. "Indeed, the barrier has been very helpful. I'm so glad my predecessor did not mess with Uzushio Gakure back during the war. Now we're benefiting greatly with them as our ally," the Kazekage said as he walked the door. "I'll be back to my office. Is there anything more or any spies reports? Tell me immediately. Hi," the Anbu replied as they prepared to burn the remains. "Konohagakure, flash next day after the letters to Iwa and Kumo has been sent. Hokage's office. So Suna hasn't responded to any of her messages," a white-haired man asked. "Yes, they have been silent. I wonder what they are up to," Saratobi said as he puffed. "There is something else you should know," Jura said, "and that is, I have received reports from any of our spy in Suna, no one. I mean no one at all. Their trouble. That's troubling news indeed, Jiraiya. If they have discovered our spies, they will receive no intel regarding Suna and the Kage's movements. I'm thinking of sending another spy from the network. Our spies inside Suna may have not been discovered yet. It is possible that Suna could be on a lockdown at the moment. Konoha and Treaty with Suna is now to the most villages. It is possible that they are simply trying to keep to themselves, at most in fear of getting hit by our mysterious enemies as well. Yes, you should send a new one inside, but if you're going to do that, you will need to send something and someone with your spy that can immediately report back to us. A summoning toad can work. Yes, a small toad that cannot be located. Alright, I'll have the spy bring a toad with him, which infiltrates. Flashback and present time Hokage office. The Hokage was currently reading on Orange Book and was giggling like a mad bitch. He did not notice when a white-haired man entered his office. "I see you looked at my new book and liked it," Jiraiya commented as he got opposite to the Hokage's desk. "Haha, yeah. It has been quite some time since I've read these books." Saratobi chuckled as he put down the Ichiriku book. "Whoever inside those attackers were, they probably hate you too. Whoever they are, I will never forgive them for destroying my masterpiece." The great white-haired pervert sighed as he recalled the tragic night. "Anyways, to businesses. You're back. Any news?" the Hokage said as he lit up his pipe and began to smoke. "As a matter of fact, I have. But I bring dire news." Saratobi just sighed and took another inhale of his pipe. "Alright, tell me about it." "I was summoned to the Mount Miyaboku about 15 minutes ago. The toads informed me that the toad I sent with them was killed. When I returned to Mount Miyaboku, the toad was all bloody and gore." "How is this even possible?" the Hokage asked, horrified. "Whatever happened to the toad, it must have been the same with the spy. They couldn't have discovered about the toad since it would have dismissed itself back immediately. They were most likely taken unaware and by a very strong attack if they were turned into blood and gore." "This is troubling news indeed. We are not even sure if we could still trust them. They just shut off us. I can only hope that they are being overly cautious, but no, considering the thing that have occurred, and as the Hokage, I must assure that they have gone hostile against us, Sarutobi said as he glared at the book he was reading earlier. Relax, you are being paranoid, and I understand why, but we cannot just assume that Suna has gone red against us. The Kazekage know that they are no match against the mighty Konoha. Oh, I do not know if you are right. I am being too paranoid. Or I may be right about Suna. The old monkey just sighed and puffed on his pipe once more. The perverted Sanin just shook his head and took out a similar book the old monkey was reading. Uzushio Gakure, Cabin at the Forest. The Uzumaki Namikaze family and Naruto friends finished their lunch and headed back to the clearing where they came earlier. They formed an infamous circle and Kushina and Minato stood at a distance away from the group. Are you guys ready? Kushina asked. Yes, Naruto and his group replied excitedly as the Uzukage took out the scroll from her pocket. The Uzukage and Minato simultaneously bit their thumbs and made hand seals and then slammed to the ground. Kyochise no Jutsu. No more than 5 seconds later, the area was now covered in smoke. Naruto and his friends waited for the smoke to dissipate. When it did, they noticed that the ground looked darker. The summon was there. They soon realized that it was a shadow as it was moving. They looked up and were astounded when they saw the creature about 5 times bigger than QB. It was floating in the sky and was encircling at them. Its beautiful scales gleamed as the sun rays reflected at it. Its head was also a great sight to see as it had what looks like a amethyst crystal on the top of it between its 2 long horns. Slowly it floated down and had its body encircled around area. They had lowered near Kushina and Minato and bowed at them. You have called. The couple bent down in one knee and bowed to their heads. Toyotama Hime. Narumi, Minako, Mio, and Miho followed their parents' example as went down on one knee. Naruto and the others noticed and they too bowed. Rise, the creature said. Kushina and Minato and the others did as ordered. We have summoned you to ask you to take us to Terra here. With us, our new academy students in need of a partner. Also, my whole family is here to present Naruto, my youngest son, to your father. Watatatsumi-sama. Naruto, the lost maelstrom? Yes, Hime. Oh, how exciting. So you have finally returned and found him. The dragon said as it looked towards Naruto. Come forward. Naruto gulped and stared at the creature. It's alright, Naruto-kun. Do not be afraid. Narumi said, encouraging her little brother. Naruto then shakily walked and approached the dragon. It is alright, my dear child. Do not be afraid. I am Toyotama, the daughter of the dragon god, Watatsumi. The princess then stared at the boy in silence. Nobody else dared interrupt or make a noise. After about 10 or 3 minutes, the dragon spoke again. For long we have waited, and now you're finally here. Everyone, come to me. She ordered and waited for the rest of the group to come. Good. Now I want you all to ride my head. Sit down by the crystal. Minato and Kushina assisted the child getting up. They hope on last, and the dragon spoke once again. Good. Now hold on tight. We are going to Terra. Toyotama said as she uncoiled and floated to the heavens. Terra, the place of the dragons. Welcome, my dear humans, to Terra, the lands of the dragons. Toyotama Hime said as they flew past 2 huge mountains that were made of the white crystals. Those who were new stared at the place in amazement. Everyone and everywhere they looked, they could see different types of crystals and gems scattered all over the lands. There were lots of mountains and caves that they assumed were also filled with precious earthen materials. Finally, they reached the topest mountain on the place, where there was a huge palace made for pure gold. The princess hovered by the balcony and let the human disembark. She then bid them goodbye for the moment and flowed towards the top of the tower of the castle. Naruto and the others were staring at the huge golden castle in awe. Soon about 20 guards marched out of the main gates and formed to asile and bowed. The guards were wearing armor that looked like scales and were also made of crystals. Welcome, newcomers. Welcome, summoners. Watatsumi-sama is waiting for you. Please come in, they all said in unison. Kushina and Minato led the group, while the guards followed behind. Soon they entered a huge throne room where a man wearing great armor also stood. The man was wearing a crystal white crown and had horns that looked like gems. He looked at red-orange colored gemstone shaped into a hexagon on the middle of the forehead. His eyes were the same color as the crystal on his forehead. Next to him, sitting a beautiful woman wearing a long gown. The gown was made on small diamonds. Was made of small diamonds, a mithril, all stitched and chained together. She was wearing an amethyst crown that also had horns. On her forehead was a hexagon amethyst. There were also other people in the room, also wearing clothes made of precious gems and crystals. The group moved forward, and Kushina Minato bent on one knee. The other followed their example and as so bowed. Rise, the man said to his throne in a powerful voice. Watatatsumi-sama, Kushina Minato murmured. My dear summoners, welcome back to Terra. It has been a long time since the last time you visited. We have been busy. The Dragon King chuckled and replied, Ah yes, I understood mortal affairs can be sometimes troublesome. Minato and Kushina laughed and then nodded. I heard from my daughter about your lost maelstrom. I would like to see him. Of course, Watatatsumi-sama. Kushina replied as Minato ushered Naruto forward. The boy shakily walked forward and then bent on one knee. Rise, my dear one. The king ordered and the boy followed. I am Watatatsumi, the king and god of the dragons. Sitting beside me is my beautiful daughter, Toyotama, that you have met. The king indicated to the beautiful woman as she smiled warmly at the boy. The boy's eyes widened, circled as he stared at the two in awe. Whoa, you can turn into humans? Naruto exclaimed, excitedly making the two chuckle. Yes, my dear one. We dragons also have our human forms. In your world, we appear as dragons, but here we assume our human forms and do our daily businesses like humans do. Wow. Come closer, dear boy. Naruto decided to follow the order and presented himself to the king and the princess. Watatatsumi stared at him in silence for some time. After a long silence, he stood up from the throne. Toyotama also, and followed her father's action and bowed to Naruto. For long we have waited, the Dragon King murmured, as he and his daughter bent on one knee to the boy. The other dragons in human forms who were in the room followed and bowed again. Everyone, especially Naruto, was confused. Kushina and Minato were thinking hard as they did not remember the same thing happening to them or their other family members when they presented themselves to the dragon. Could it be? Kuramachomi and Shikaku, who were watching through their host eyes, wondered the same thing. But Tatsumi, the one, stood up and followed the others. Welcome, Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto, the king said, and the other dragons in the room said the same thing and applauded. And now, the other new young ones, please step forward. Fu did the same and followed the example and bowed. The king inspected them all, one by one. He stared, and Fu and Gaara longer compared to the other. You have passed the test. You are all worthy of signing the dragon contract. Everyone smiled happily while Naruto was a bit confused. What do you mean? What kind of test? The king simply chuckled at the girl while the princess smiled. It was Toyotama who answered this. The test was simple. We read through your hearts and your mind, and all of you have pure souls. Your first test was when you arrived at the gates. That was the two mountains. It was feeling your emotions and felt no darkness in it. You saw all the precious gems and crystals, yet you did not feel the taking them. The princess said. You see, the king said. Greed is one of the greatest enemies of a human being. Here in Terra, greed is the greatest enemy of a dragon summoner. If you have it in your heart, then you are not worthy of the signing contract and will be banished from this place forever. I understand, Naruto said as he made a thinking pose. So if a human is greedy, he will only want to contract so he could return here and take all the crystals. There is also a chance that he could bring other humans to invade the place and take the precious items here for themselves. Well spoken. You are shown great intellect at your age, the king said. Thank you, Watatatsumi-sama. I just live reading a lot of books. It helps me expand my knowledge. Knowledge is power, my dear boy. A dragon lives long and gains a lot of knowledge as it grows older. The older the dragon gets, the wiser it also becomes. You see, we dragons are what you humans call walking libraries. We know a lot of things, and you are free to ask us anything as long as we feel that your questions are worthy of asking or answering. Wow, so having the dragon contract is really great, huh? One could learn many things. Think about it, Naruto said after some time. In his own thought, that's true now, enough chit-chat. I'm sure you and your friends can no longer wait to sign the contract now. The king smiled as he took out a huge scroll and an obsidian dragon. Here, make a small cut on the finger of your palm and smear the blood on the scroll. Naruto did as ordered. Moments later, he smeared his blood on the scroll. Golden letter appeared on it, spelling Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto with the kanji for second besides it. Kurama, who was watching, wondered. Second. Naruto-kun's the second? Hold on, if I remember correctly, Tosama was the first summoner of the dragon, and his personal summon was Watatatsume-sama. Perfect, the Dragon King said, as he took the scroll and put it back to his robe. He then took out another one and motioned for the others to come forward. Fu was the one who signed and was followed by Gaara. Hinata signed next and then Sasuke. Tamari was a bit nervous at first but signed anyways. Kankuro was the last one, but they all finished signing. Watatatsume took the scroll and kept it into his robe as well. Alright then, Toyotama said. Please come with Shen and he will lead you out to the castle. You will be now matched with your personal summons. A man wearing emerald clothing walked forward and introduced himself. I'm Shen. Please follow me. The children then began to follow him outside, but stopped when he heard the king clearing his throat and called for their attention. Naruto, please remain here. The boy then walked back to his parents' side and waited for the king to speak, while his friends were led outside by Shin. Right, how do I start? Alright, anyways. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, you were supposed to be here 5 years ago, but because of some unfortunate events, your presentation here was delayed. Normally, the Uzukage's family members are presented to every dragon in Terra, whether they are already bound to one summoner or not. Your case, however, is different. The moment I saw you, I knew there was something special about you. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you or your family about it. You shall be the one to discover. Now, you are probably wondering why you signed on the different scroll. The answer is simple. Watatatsume trailed off as he stood up and drew a hidden sword from his robe. The Dragon King raised the sword and then struck it to the floor. He then faced the boy and bent on one knee. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, I Watatatsume Ryujin, King of Terra, will be your personal summon. I pledge to you my undying loyalty and friendship. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, I, Toyotama Hime, Dragon of the Region, will also be your personal summon. I pledge to you my undying loyalty and friendship, the princess said as she took out a sword and did the same thing as her father. Especially everyone and Naruto were surprised by this. Kushina and Minato were shocked but were happy for their son. Naruto's siblings were simply amazed. They knew about their parents' personal summon contract with the princess. However, hearing the king proclaim himself as Naruto's personal summon was something amazing and shocking. From this day forth, you are now under the protection of the whole Dragon Clan. You now have the authority to summon every single one of us whenever you wish. Shall you need us in any kind of situation, we will be there to aid you. The king said as he stood up. The princess also stood up as her father and held out his hand, received the seal of the Uzumaki Ryu Pact. Naruto felt a burning sensation on his left arm and watched as markings appeared. For about 5 minutes, everyone watched in silence as his left arm got covered by markings that soon formed into a obsidian dragon. The dragon glowed for some time and finally vanished. The boy's left arm now looked normal, like it was before. The seal symbolizes our contract with the Dragon Clan. It will remain invisible and will only show up when you perform the jutsu for summoning, Watatatsume explained. Now, time for you to receive your personal seal with me and my daughter. He and Toyotama both held out their arms and spoke. Receive the seal of your personal summon. This time it was Naruto's right arm that glowed and got covered by markings. Two dragons began to form. One was a golden and the other one was silver. After some time, the sealing vanished and his skin turned to normal. Now that we are finished, I have something to tell you while the children are finding their match. Follow me, the king said as they led to another room with their family, toying along. Please be comfortable and take seats. Now to the business. Kushina and Minato, as you may have already known, Moro, the Demon King, has been summoned back to life. We dragons could feel his presence from here. He is slowly growing stronger by the day. I'm bringing up his matter because what happens in a few weeks lies the fate of the world. Also, since you are the leader of the Uzumaki clan, it concerns your clans a lot. As wielder of the Rinnegan, it is your duty to maintain balance of the world. If Moro rises to the full power, well, you know what happens. We understand the fact. We are set to leave for Uni no Kuni after Naruto signs the contract, Kushina said, informing the Dragon King. That's good. Now, here's something you need to know. Moro releasing this time will require the power of your whole family. You, Minato, and your children must work together. The king then spoke to Naruto. Naruto, before you go to the demon country, you must first get to the grasp of your summonings. Watatsumi then explained, Moro is a courtly being. Last time he was sealed by the priestess with the use of her powers, but now he has come back and this time he is stronger than before. You will need to assist of another god. Now I don't want you to think that I'm understanding or underestimating your clan's power. I know about the wonders of the Rinnegan as it is also a power of God. However, something tells me that you will have to rely on your other skills without using your Rinnegan. Since your clan is also known as the clan of Seal Masters, there will be no problem. The only way to defeat Moro is by combining your seals with me, strengthening it into a godly level. Also, I would like to state an ancient law that I'm sure some of you already know. A god or goddess must not involve themselves into human matters. That law, however, can be bypassed. Since I am bound to Naruto, I have the rights to visit the mortal realm and get involved into the matters without breaking the law. That is why Naruto must master the arts of summoning first. Excuse me, Watatsumi-sama, Naruto said. How can I go and learn it fast if we also need to take care of Moro soon? That's a good question. The Dragon King smiled as he called for one of his servants watching by the door. Please summon Akira. Hi. The guard soon bowed and left. Only a few minutes passed, the door opened once again, and a woman wearing white armor appeared. You call, Lord? Yes, this is Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the king said, indicating at the boy. You will be training him with the summoning jutsu. You will also be the one, our special guest, and use our special rooms to haste his training. Naruto, this is Akira, one of our lieutenants. She will be the one to train you. Understood. Please follow me. The boy looked at his parents and waited for their approval. His family just smiled at him and encouraging him to go. Where are we going? Naruto asked as he and Akira exited the room and walked through the corridors. We are going to train inside a special room where time is different from here. Say, for example, if we are going to train here inside for a week, only 7 minutes will be passed for some who are outside. I see. A minute here is a day inside. Exactly. Come. We must hurry. Cool, Naruto said, following and making Akira smile. They walked for a few minutes as the castle was huge. Naruto wasn't able to memorize the way there as they went a lot of turns and stairs. Finally, they stopped in front of a corridor with 3 curtains at the far end. Akira walked towards the curtains in the middle and motioned for Naruto to enter first. The boy excitedly went through the curtains with Akira falling behind. Time skipped 30 minutes later. The middle curtain moved and on it came out of a boy and a woman in armor. The boy looked a bit taller now compared earlier and his hair longer. His body physique also improved. The woman was smiling proudly as they walked back to the room where the boy's family was waiting. Kachan! Naruto excitedly called as he ran back to the room. Naruto-kun! Kushina stood up and hugged her son. She released him and inspected her baby boy. Look at you, you've grown tall, and your hair, you're starting to look like your father. So, how was your training? Minato asked, and smiled fondly at his son. It was great. We were in there for a month. Akira-sensei helped me strengthen my physique up. My chakra pool has increased during the training on my first week. But it was difficult though, but I got used to the routine Sensei made for me. Kurama-chan also helped me with my training as she helped me heal faster and replenish my lost energy and chakra. And now I can easily summon a dragon. The only thing now I haven't practiced yet is summoning Watatsumi-sama himself. Well done, Naruto. And thank you, Akira, said the king, bowing to his lieutenant. It has been a great honor teaching him. He is a great student, Akira replied. Naruto family also thanked the woman before she excused herself. I'll see you again soon, sensei, and thank you for teaching me, Naruto said as he hugged the woman. Akira then made a last bow and exited. So, Naruto-kun, Narumi smiled. Yes, Nei-chan, you think you're ready now? Naruto, she smiled. Ha, you bet. Let's go and kick some demon ass. Ha ha ha, that's the spirit. Minako laughed as he and Naruto high-fived. Shall we make a little contest on who summons the most dragons? Said Miho, grinning. Hey, that's unfair. You've been training longer. You said you're stronger already, and your chakra pool is grown larger, Miho replied. Nei-chan, Naruto whined. The dragons and the Uzumaki family just laughed at the sibling banter. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. If they're serious about it, Remember that you got me? Kurama laughed evilly as she spoke through the link. Hey, you're right, Naruto replied as he smirked evilly at his sibling. Someone got that look. Naruto chuckled as others laughed. Alright, that's enough. I think others have already matched with their personal summons. Kushner interrupted. Yes, come on, let's go back to the throne room. When we return, they are going to be there. And we are going to have a feast in honor for the new summoners as well as Uzumaki Namikaze and art. Kirigakure, on the other hand, back to the mortal realm, they are here. A gate guard said as he and his group watched the Konoha diplomats approach. So, they have sent both clan heads of their dojutsu clans, a beautiful red-haired woman commented. You know them, May Senpai, a Kiryanbu captain asked, besides the woman as a tall man with long black hair carrying 3 blades on the side asked. Yes, May replied. The Konoha group was now by the gates. Welcome, Konoha. Welcome to Kirigakure, the woman greeted. I met Thurumi, the Yonda Mizukage, right hand and successor. With me is my husband, Rikodo. Please follow me. The group then headed to the Mizukage Tower with Anbu flanking them. Mizukage's office. Mizukage-sama, Hiyashi and Fugaku bowed. Welcome, Hiyashi of the Yuga clan and Fugaku of the Uchiha clan. Yagura nodded. Now enough of these pleasantries and let us get started to the business. The 2 clan heads smiled and nodded to each other and took out the 2 scrolls. We have come forth in hopes of forging an alliance with you. Konoha has a lot of offer in terms of trade and resources. What sort of things will Kiri get with the proposed alliance? One is resources, as we have said. We could open and establish trading routes straight from the land of fire to the land of water. You may now easily acquire the supplies that you didn't usually find in your lands. Also, we promise you a cheap and easy bargains that you will find great, Yashi explained. Another method is teaching styles. We are willing to share our ways in our teachings and training with you, Fugaku said. As a part of that, we are also willing to share some of our jutsus. As a sign of our honesty and willingness for the alliance, we have brought you gifts, Fugaku said as he and Hiyashi each handed him a scroll. It was Mei who took the scrolls and passed one to the man besides her earlier. To inspect Rokutu checked the scrolls of her traps and when found it clear, he handed it back to his wife. Finding both scrolls safe, she finally gave it to Mizukage. The Mizukage then took the scrolls and opened one of its eye. His eye got big as he read it. This is, Yagura whispered and started to look at Konoha diplomats. Hiyashi and Fugaku only smiled and nodded at the young leader, urging him to open the scroll. Kami-sama. These are... Mizukage trailed off as he sat back into his chair. He gave the scroll back to Mei. The woman's reaction was unreadable, as she was impassive. Her husband looked and took a notice and immediately knew that whatever the scroll said, it made Mei angry. She was just good at not showing it. Mei handed them the scroll to read, and when they read it, he just sighed and handed them back to the Mizukage to give us this as a gift. This is very valuable. Yagura finally spoke. This is how much we are willing to give for our alliance to be forged. This is too much, Mei commented. Yashi just smiled while Fugaku replied, Of course it is, but we do not mind. I'm sure you do realize that this is only a copy, right? Yashi asked Yagura. Of course, he smiled. If you do not mind, I would like to be left alone for now to think you can have these back for now, he said as he gave back them the scrolls. Hiyashi and Fugaku took one each and put them back inside the robes. Mei and Rokuto will lead you out. They will be your guide. While you're here, feel free to look around the village. I'm sure you'll find something you'll like. Thank you, Mizukage-sama. We hope for a good result once you're done thinking things over. Fugaku and Hiyashi both said and bowing and left the village. Room to look at the village. Time skip. The next day, Oni no Kuni, the family was now entering the demon borders. They were all traveling together, cloaked to keep their identities hidden. The Uzukage have left clones back in her office to do the paperwork. Kaede have been informed of their journey and was asked to double the security in the village. While they were away, Fu and the others practiced doing the summon jutsu with Tobi, excitedly watching over them. When they returned from their match finding, they were amazed and happy for Naruto when they found out who his personal summon was. They were also told of his mission to Oni no Kuni and understood why Naruto had to be trained fast. While training for the Uzukage and her family to return, Fu and the others decided to train hard to catch up to Naruto. How much farther? Naruto asked, obviously bored. Minato chuckled and replied, we're almost there, Naruto-kun. Just about 20 kilometers more. The boy just sighed and looked forward. Finally, after a long distance of traveling, a castle started to get into the view. As they got nearer, they were greeted by about 20 people armed with bows and arrows. Some of them were carrying torches to light their way, as it was already dark. Welcome, descendants of the Rokuto no Sanin. I am Toharu. The priestess is waiting for you. Please follow me. How do they know about us? Naruto whispered, the priestess. Narumi replied, what, how? Naruto asked, confused. It is only one of her powers. She can see the future. Minako explained. Thank you, Taro-san. Please lead us to the priestess. Kushina replied to Taro. Taro nodded to his men and surrounded the family in a protective circle as they walked towards the castle priestess compound. The family was led into the huge room. Sitting at the far side of the room was priestess. Besides her sat a little girl about the same age as Naruto. Welcome, Kushina Uzumaki. Welcome, Minato Namikaze. It is a great pleasure to see you again. It has been years since the last time we met. The priestess smiled as she opened her arms to hug them both. Miroko-san, it has been years indeed, Kushina said as she returned the hug. Ah, look at how time passed. Minato smiled. Haha, yes, I remember you two were Genins when you arrived. You two were always fighting. Now look at you two. I always knew you would end up together. Miroko laughed as she remembered the time when they were still young and free for their current responsibilities. By the way, here are our children. Narumi, my firstborn, Minako, my secondborn, Miyu and Miho, my twins, and lastly my youngest son, Naruto. Here is my daughter, Shion. I believe your youngest is the same age as her. Naruto then decided to walk forward and offer her a hand. Hello, I'm Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, and I am the future Uzukage. Tatebayo. She just stared at him and began to blush. Her face turned into a red tomato. Naruto stared at the girl and got strongly reminded him of someone he knew. He later realized that Shion and Hinata looked exactly the same. Their facial expressions were also the same when she blushed. It was only their hair and their eyes that will tell them apart if they were together. The girl slowly approached Naruto and shook his hand. Hi, I'm Shion. It's nice to meet you, Naruto. She started while still blushing. Everyone who were watching got amused with the two interactions. Miroku was a little surprised as she never heard her daughter stutter before. Kushina just smiled and Minato and Naruto's siblings were smirking at each other. Even Kurama, who was watching through the link, was laughing hard. Oh my, Naruto-kun. I have found another member of his fan club. It just grows bigger whenever he meets someone new. Naruto-kun, would you like to take a tour around the compound with me? Shion asked, stuttering. Tour? Yeah, sure. Shion looked up to her mother for permission and grinned when Moroko smiled and nodded. The girl took Naruto's hand and dragged him out of the room. When the two were left of earshot, the elders in the room laughed while Naruto's siblings high-fived each other. They now have someone new to tease their little brother with. Narumi, Minako, Miyo, and Miho, Kushina called. Your father and I would like to talk with the priestess alone. Please wait outside and watch over Naruto-kun. Of course, Kachan. They all replied in unison as they sent out to spy for Naruto and some blackmail material. Time skip. 2 days later. Uzushio Gakure. The Uzumaki Namikaze family has successfully resealed the Demon King, Moro, back to his realm and made sure he would never resurface to the land for the mortals ever again. The Uzukage and currently in the council room briefing them of the events happened in Oni no Kuni. Meanwhile, two cloaked figures walked towards the village's gates. Council room. The Uzukage just finished their story with Kaide entered the room. Excuse me, Uzukage-sama. They are here. They bring urgent news. Alright, council dismissed. We are talking tomorrow about this matter again. The Uzukage said and stood up. Where are they? She asked Kaide. They're waiting for you at the office. Uzukage's office. The two cloaked figures were inside office waiting for the storm commander to return with the Uzukage. After a few moments, the door opened and Kaide, Kushina, Minato entered. It has been a long time, Kushina addressed the two. Indeed, Uzushio Gakure has grown. You have done great as Uzukage, Moto, a woman's voice replied. The Uzukage walked forward and hugged the cloaked woman. I miss you very much, Mei-ne-chan. I missed you too, Ku-chan. So, how's Kaide? Is he giving you trouble? Mei jokingly asked. Yeah, I missed you too, Ne-chan. Kaide smirked as he hugged the woman who was now revealed to be Mei Terumi. Rikoto-san, how are you? Minato asked as he shook the other cloaked figure's hand. I'm doing great, Minato-san. Please let us take our seats. Kushina offered the two visitors to take off their cloaks and sat opposite to the Uzukage's desk. Alright, let us get straight to the business, Kushina said. Right, Mei replied. Bring news from Kiri about Konoha as well. As this is where I'm going to be leaving off this part, guys. It is already long enough. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, guys, sorry about the stuttering and mispronouncing of these words. It's just that I'm tired and I still have to study as well. And yeah, guys, it is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.